Good. Good. I think we can start. Sasha, first and foremost, it is really an honor to host you on our event, and as we talked before we went live, the criteria to choose guests on our webcast is to have people with that we deeply respect, appreciate work that they have done until this moment, and it is immense pleasure to have you. So thank you very much for accepting invitation.
Thank you, Marco, for the kind words, and thank you for inviting me.
Sasha, I have been lucky enough to follow from a distance, let's say, what you're doing in your life and your growth, actually from always actually respected person and employee to I would say one of at least from my assessment, one of the best and well-known leaders in IT in Serbia, but also I would really assess it wider, and I would even say on a European level. However, Sasha, if you would need to kind of just to bring your biography closer to our listeners, how you would sum up your path from a person who understood, hey, I want to do something on my own, to where you are today.
Well, in short, I had a strong entrepreneurial spirit even when I was much younger, but this story started when I went for studies, and then I met my current business partner, Vladan. So we started studying together, and we even lived together in the same room in a student's dormitory. And back then we started dreaming about founding an IT company in the future together. So it was a long time ago, and it all started with kind of a dream. And then we worked really hard to learn as much as we could during the studies and get as much experience as we could. And we very early got our first jobs. So I started working somewhere at the end of the third year of my studies, and then also tried to get as much knowledge and experience during that work, and then at some point decided to start a company on our own, and then learn even more, invest even more in our knowledge and so on.
I have immense appreciation for people who have that kind of courage to start their own. Do you hear me well? Because I'm receiving some information that the connection is not good. Do you hear me well?
I can hear you well.
Okay,
good. Your video was freezing for a moment a few times.
It can be. So if you have some issue, just write me down, please. So I had immense appreciation for people who have this courage to start their own business. However, if you can go back when you have been starting, what actually those emotions have been? Have you had this fear, or it was more just kind of excitement that you're starting something that you would like to do?
Well, yeah, it's actually an interesting story, because I told you that we were dreaming about founding a company from early days of our studies, and then I think it was maybe 4 or 5 years after we joined an IT company as employees, and we actually did some work as freelancers as well, Vladan and me together. We got the chance to found a company with some investors from the Netherlands. So we were in contact with them for around a month time. We had all different kind of talks, and it all seemed like our dreams are finally going to become true. So the final meeting was here in Novi Sad. It lasted for 2 days or so. And at the end, we decided not to start that business with our friends from the Netherlands. And then, so it was a bit of disappointing, but still we wanted to do it the right way, and we didn't feel it would be the right way if we would do it together with them, because they were too much focusing on revenue and KPIs and how much we need to earn every year and so on. And we were more about people and building great culture and so on. So it was a bit disappointing at that time. But then after a few months, we said, let's do it on our own. And to be honest, there was no fear, because I knew how much I know and what I could do. And I knew that in worst case scenario, I could always go and find another job as a software developer or architect, whatever, and earn decent money and maybe give it another try or something like that. So back then I was just a few months before that, I took a loan to buy an apartment, and I just got married, and my wife was pregnant at the time, and I had a leased car. So yeah, everything was against me, and it was beginning of 2008 and the beginning of the global financial crisis.
Financial crisis, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, if you wanted to choose a very bad moment, it would be that moment, or maybe now during this COVID-19 outbreak. But it's not that I didn't have fear because I'm fearless. It's because I knew that if I fail, I will just do something and then give it another try.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's confidence in what you know and probably in what you don't know. What is also interesting. So I guess that also knowing not what you don't know is enabling you to search for knowledge and help, right? Isn't it?
Yes, but at that moment, I didn't really know that much about how much I don't know, because because I was leading a very big team at that former company, and I did great work as a freelancer. I was really good at the university before that. I was reading a lot, and I was pretty much sure that I know a lot. But then when we started the company, I figure out how much I don't know. So it was surprising, to be honest. I mean, I knew a lot because of all that previous experience, but it was just a small portion of what you need to know to
Of end-to-end.
build and run a company. But you're right. Then when I figure out that, then it was straightforward to go and learn what I didn't know.
What amazes me in that story is that when you had these initial conversations with the team from Netherlands, is that even you had the opportunity to start something there, that you said this is not the right way to do business, or at least not the right way that we want to have for us. And I think that's something that is we can probably now continue on, because it seems to me that fundamentals of everything that you are doing are based on these values and the proper way of working. So if you would now see Vega IT sourcing as a house, right, and if you would need to describe to someone your company, what you would say it is in the fundaments of that house, from where you're starting. And of course I read your book on values. Yes. But how you would let's say explain to someone what are the basics that we need to start from?
Well, it's a combination of a lot of things, but if I really have to take out just a few, I would say it's about caring about people, caring about our colleagues, and supporting each other. So there are many more things, but it all starts with those two: caring and supporting each other. that also means knowledge sharing and mentoring and a good onboarding process and so on. But it all starts with caring.
And normally what I hear repetitively is that when you speak about these things like caring, empathy, respect, often people say that you cannot have that in a business, you cannot have that in corporations, and it's just kind of a talk until there is a problem. But of course, from how you would comment on such critiques from everything that you know from your experience, why this is important, maybe even especially when tough times come.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's important because if you care about people, people will also care about the company, and then during tough times, people will do their best to support their colleagues and the company. We had that when the outbreak started. We started losing work, and our revenues dropped by around 30% in April. So it's still not that scary, but the uncertainty of what's coming next was very scary, because we didn't know if it will stop there or if our revenues will drop by 70 or 80% or to zero. So one of our colleagues back then said, what we are doing now is not enough, and I'm going to try something else. And then she spent a lot of time in her free time during weekends and evenings to try some new business development efforts, and she had some first results, and then we pushed that even further, invested into that, and managed to recover quickly. So and that was a result of our culture and her returning back what she was getting from the company during good times. But yeah, you also asked how I would comment on this question in general. We look at our company more as a family, not entirely as a family. I can add something to that, but more like a family. And then if you have a family member, you don't quit on them easily, and you give people second and third chance or fifth chance, and we basically support our colleagues for as long as we see that they want to succeed, but whatever the problem is about. If they show they are willing and they're trying to solve whatever it is, whether they need to learn something or there's an issue about relationship with someone or whatever, as long as there's something positive coming from their end, we will give them opportunity to succeed. And we had cases where people needed like 3 months or 6 months or a year and a half even to become productive and to be able to do the work on their own and so on. And people who get a chance like that are very thankful for that then for years. So it's a win-win situation basically. And the only time when we give up of someone is when that person is harming other people. Then it really doesn't work. We try to speak with that person first, and if after 1 or 2 talks it doesn't work, then we decide to fire that person.
Based on what you told me, that a person went and started to work on her own idea, or I didn't hear well if it's, but let's say that on her or his good idea, new idea, and that actually it was
business development, and she was doing some business development efforts, and that brought us new work. And
Yes. So what I wanted to say, so she went to work on one idea, and then she was also listened, and then actually that went into life. So that sound to me that people feel confident in that they will be understood, listened, even supported, even if they fail in such environment. Probably. How you would comment it?
Yeah, exactly like that. We always encourage our colleagues to come to us with their ideas, questions, comments, whatever. We promote entrepreneurship, but also entrepreneurship, and that leads to exactly behaviors like this, that people come with ideas, either for something that we can improve within the company, or even a separate business. We actually co-founded, I think, 7 or 8 additional companies in Novi Sad, mostly with our colleagues or ex-colleagues now, who are now partners of ours.
That is actually amazing. That is one of the things that we can follow up. In the meantime, we do have a question from Stefan. Sasha, do you think that the level of closeness people could have in, let's say, a smaller company is also possible in a large corporation where there is a lot of more people of diverse opinions and beliefs?
I believe that's possible, but probably on a team level, on smaller level. So if you would have a culture like that in a bigger organization, I believe you could still have the same level of closeness relationship between people, if you invest into that, and if people are aware of the benefits, and how they will feel better at work, and be supported, etc. Then you can do that. You just need to coach or train team leaders, or whatever the structure is, and whoever is there to then pass that to the rest of the team.
From my own experience, you definitely can have very close relations that are, of course, depending on a culture of an overall organization. However, I would say it always depends on you. What you are giving to others, people are probably reflecting that. So if even if it's one team or across let's say service lines or anything, if you are showing, I guess, openness from yourself, I guess that people are naturally returning with that.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to us, for example, my partners and I don't have our own offices, so we sit together with our colleagues, and we are very easy to approach, and you can speak with us directly in the office, or in the hallways, or in our canteen, or anywhere you like. So that's just one example, but it's very easy to reach us, and we are very open to questions and comments.
You're giving me segues all over the place, so I'll follow as I follow as we go. So in order to do that, in order to be approachable, in order to be still to kind of be together with the team, one has to fight with his own ego, right? So in many other, I mean, in many assessments, you are very successful, right? So you made together with your partner something that is very significant, and there is no there. I mean, we can compare one thing to another. However, I think there is no way around it, and success often may come with a high ego, or maybe kind of this self-fulfillment that may be significant. So how you reflect on that, how you control your own self-image on a daily basis, let's say.
Well, we actually have a number of mechanisms to control that. One is something we call a culture committee. So we have a group of around 15 people that gathers at least once a week for half an hour. If there's a need, it can be more often and for more longer. And usually not everyone is attending those meetings, but we usually have at least 10 people attending every week. And then if there's anything that looks strange or wrong to our colleagues, they would bring that up during the culture committee meetings. And so if anyone thinks that something is affecting our culture, or that a decision was not made properly, or it's not clear why we did this or that, or anything like that, or if a behavior or action of one of the leaders is strange, at least, then someone will raise that up, and then we will discuss it. And but even then, because there can be cases when someone doesn't feel comfortable about stepping up and saying that directly, for example, to me or one of my partners, we still have a mechanism for our colleagues to send us a question or a comment anonymously. And by default, they send that to the whole organization. So you go to a web page and you write down a question or a comment, you submit that, and then literally everyone within Vega IT receives an email immediately with that question or comment. And then the next Friday after working hours, we have an all hands meeting, and then we either answer the question or comment on what's being said there, etc. Our colleagues can also choose to send that to one of us directly and not to everyone, but most often everyone gets the message within our company. And then it's a mechanism. It's just we've exposed ourselves completely, and everyone can easily criticize our work decisions, etc., or question them.
So there is it seems to me, combination of two things. First is this closed loop of feedback, so that you are actually hearing that you are not the best person in the world, probably, and the smartest and so on. So that there is this feedback, but then in order for that feedback to be possible, people need to feel safe in such environment. Meaning that there is a trust among us,
Yes.
among you.
Yes, but then I feel it's not enough. That's why we have this anonymous option as well.
Yes.
Because even if there's trust, sometimes it might be too scary or uncomfortable for people to say something. So it basically starts with what we say. So we are talking that we are this kind of organization, that our culture is like that, and we even wrote a book, as you mentioned, a culture book. So then if we don't follow what we are saying or writing, then our colleagues can easily comment on that and question our decisions.
It's basics of integrity, right? So if you only when you do what you say, actually you can show that you have integrity, and that actually you follow your words. If it's other way around, then everything is fake, right?
Yeah, and it's actually that we also make mistakes. So it's not only that we just have to explain. It's also we just make mistakes, as everyone does, and we welcome the critiques and questions, because it happens that we didn't make the best possible decision, and that our colleagues would suggest something or ask, and then we improve on that, and that works great for us.
That's excellent. So now, as I said, you're giving me segues all over the place that I would like to follow. So maybe to return back to what you said, that you co-founded several companies, and that comes to how you impact your community or society, right? Or what you are enabling as a environment, so that others can benefit from it, and how actually you're returning back to community. So I guess that companies that you're co-founding actually somehow have their own life, right? Later. It seems to me that that's kind of very important for you, from what I could hear or read until now.
Yeah, well, it's part of our vision and mission to help the world become a better place. So promoting entrepreneurship and helping young entrepreneurs to build their own companies is something that we do actively. Those that you mentioned are companies that we've co-founded, so there's also a huge benefit for us, financial benefit there. But we also support many entrepreneurs even when we are not part of their business. So one of the first people who ever went away from Vega IT came to us long time ago. I think it was 8 years or something like that ago, and he said that he will quit his job, and we asked why, and he said that he wants to start his own company, and we were happy for him, even though we really liked him, and it was a lose for the company, and yeah, we just asked him if he needs any support, because we really like him, and we thought it's better to let him go than to try to keep him if he has such a strong entrepreneurial spirit. And he said he doesn't need any support. And then after a month or so, I called him and asked how it's going, and he said that they've prepared everything. He had a partner, and they have an office. They did some branding and so on, but they don't have any work, no clients at all. And someone promised them they would get some work, but then nothing happened out of that. And then I spoke with Vladan, and we agreed to give them a client of ours, a company from London who we were working with for a few years' time, and that was their first client, and that ex-colleague still runs that business. So that's good for our local community, and we don't have any financial benefits from that. But actually, that guy is quite famous in the local IT community, and it happened several times that he would go as a speaker to a conference and speak about Vega IT and how much we've helped him to start his own business. So at the end, we even benefit from that.
Yeah, it is that move on its own is something I'm not sure that I actually heard somewhere else. I mean, I would really need to dig into different companies, different moves. So this fact that you gave your own client to someone else, it's although understanding, of course, motives to that you wanted to help him out. I think it's more than generous. It's really I would say really unique. So really congratulations to do that. Good. We have several couple more questions. So let's see what Kumar is saying. What do you suggest to someone who want to build a startup? What are the initial steps to take care of?
Mm-hmm. So before you start thinking about building a great culture and hiring the right people, etc., if you're thinking about a startup, I would suggest you first try to sell what you're going to offer as a startup. So no matter if it's a service or a product, if possible at all, to try to sell it. So for example, if you want to build a software product, go to someone and tell them that you're close to finishing a software product like this or that, and in 6 months' time you will have it on the market, and you will offer them as one of the first users, for example, a subscription for a year time for just 10% or 20% of the full price. Something extremely cheap, but something that they will still need to pay. And then you will see if they really need that product and if they're going to buy it at the end when you have it. If someone wants to buy it, then it's very easy to go and build that thing and deliver it. It's straightforward. And very often we would go and ask people if they would buy something from us if we would build it, and people would say yes most of the time and then give us false hope. So I would actually suggest you read a book called The Mom Test. It's very interesting and shows how the worst thing you can do is go to your mother and ask what she thinks about a startup that you plan to start. It's most likely that she would say, just go for it, darling, and I'm sure you will succeed or something like
that. I guess that we would recommend that book to our colleagues. Good. So going to the next question from Milica. I worked for several companies, even NGOs, that should have a goal to make a world a better place. But usually they're always jealous when you want to go out as an employee and give your energy to some other goal. How did you overcome this basic human need to consider your company as your child that someone just abandoned?
I'm just not sure if Milica was thinking about going.
She's asking actually. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, was it while she was working for the company in her free time, or going out of the company to start something?
What she's saying is she was working in several companies, and then what she sees is that a reaction when someone is going out of company, it's often negative and kind of jealous that someone is leaving, or that someone is leaving kind of a close
society. Yeah, in that case, I would suggest to companies leaders to think about what they get or lose when they have such an attitude. So if someone leaves the company, if you are jealous and you try to make it harder for the person to leave you, etc., you probably will not get anything from that. But if you support people, if you stay in a good relationship, then you might even benefit from that in the long run. For example, we have how do you call it? I lost the word. Alumni club.
Mm-hmm.
We have an alumni club, and around 20% of people who are part of it are either back at Vega IT or one of our spin-off companies now, and even the rest who are not part of our businesses are people who we see at least twice a year, and we exchange some experiences and are always there to look for interesting opportunities and maybe support each other, etc. But that way, your ex-employees also become your brand ambassadors and friends, etc. So there's much more that company owners or leaders can get than what they lose with such a negative attitude.
Thank you, Sasha, for that. We have another ask from Kumar. Thank you, Sasha, for your advice and suggesting the Mom Test book. What do you suggest about production and marketing? I'm not sure if Kumar, you thought on books or
probably about books.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe to put it maybe in another way. When you think about Vega IT marketing, right? How you approach this whole area? What Vega IT marketing is for you?
So it's more like PR. It's more like doing great work internally and then talking about that, sharing that with the rest of the world. Because we don't believe in fake marketing or something where you say that you are great and that's it. We just start from doing great things for our colleagues and the community, etc., and then speak about some of those things. And then no one can really question that, or it's much easier for people to believe when they see it on real examples.
Great. So, Sasha, when you think about growth of let's say first, let's start from individual growth of your colleagues. I guess especially in IT and especially in, well, maybe not especially, but very dynamic. The IT is very dynamic area, and the growth is immensely fast, and people need to develop all the time. It seems to me, and so when someone gets in your company, what are the pathways, or how a person orients her or himself, where she or he is, and what are the pathways of development?
Yeah. So it starts with our onboarding process. So when you join the company, you first get assigned with a tech mentor and something we call a star mate, like a peer buddy. So star mate will help you to socialize more faster, to meet people, to understand how we do this or that, and to more easily join groups, to more easily come and attend our happy hours or parties or whatever. And the tech mentor is there to help you to grow in a technical way as fast as you can. And then in addition to that, in the first 3 to 6 months, you would have several people skills trainings organized by our people operations team. And then we would also suggest you to attend all different kind of knowledge sharing events, so lectures, workshops, etc. So that's how it starts, and later on we do it on an individual level. So we are looking at everyone separately to see what their potential is and how we can best use it, how we can support that colleague the best, whether they need mentoring or if they can be mentored and learn faster by teaching someone and so on.
I would assume that from what I read, you try to diversify in a way to kind of reduce the risk of losing, let's say, one big client that on which, let's say, company lies. And I would imagine that you have not only various clients but also various technologies. And if someone gets into one technology and wants to change it. From my own experience, when you are experienced in one technology and then you want to go something else, you're not on the same experience level. You need to really kind of do a few steps back. So how do you handle that kind of moves?
You would usually, if you want to learn a new technology faster, then you would get a mentor who is really good with that technology, and that person would help you to learn it as fast as possible. So the mentor would give you advices on how and where to start from, and then maybe give you an assignment, and then follow up on your progress and give you advices, etc. Because if you're already an experienced engineer, then someone just needs to show you where to start from and give you tips on best practices, and then the rest is something that you can do on your own.
When you were talking about buddies, mentees, and I mean buddies and mentors, and then having this structure around, it seems to me that you have this kind of fluidity across organization in a way that I know I'm just assessing. So now you can comment on that. That you can reach horizontally very in a very wide basis. It seems to me, so that it's pretty. That knowledge sharing is going all around. Do you see? I mean, what kind of a value you get from that, and or how do you balance between a structure of let's say manager and team members and that the kind of horizontal moves and
Yeah, well, we insist on flat structure for several reasons. It's much easier for people to step up and say what they think or propose ideas, and it would be much different if they would have to go through several layers of management to, for example, get to the founders of the company or anyone else who can do something about their ideas. So, and there are many more advantages of that flat structure. So we actually use an organizational structure called metrics, which means that ideally you should have a team leader or a project manager or someone who is responsible for a specific project you're working on. And that's one dimension of the metrics. And on the other dimension, you have someone who is like a development lead or a development manager who is following your personal and professional development.
Capabilities, right?
Capabilities, yes, over the time. So no matter what project you are on. And but those are just roles, two roles that are supporting roles, but it's still a flat organization and you don't have to go through your development lead, for example, if you want to speak to someone else. You can choose to whom you go to speak for what, etc.
Yeah. What amazes me, Sasha, is that when you started, it's it's not long time ago, but in terms of IT terms, I think that every year in IT it kind of sits in the real life, it kind of spreads. So when you started with your partner those years ago, what's it, 9 years ago? How was
it's now actually 12 years ago.
12 years ago, yes. Sorry, I mixed the dates. So 12 years ago, approach that you are presenting is something that is very actual now in general organizations and organizations that care human workplace and kind of these concepts that we see around. So what is we come from the same country, right? So also I know what is a working culture, let's say back in Serbia too, and I have been working there, and I have to say there is a contrast between what your initial idea was and what is a working culture. And what is very interesting is how come, from where you got those concepts, from where you could understood, okay, I don't have to follow what the mainstream of a working culture is, and I will create this world that is, wherever in the world you are right now, you would be simply an actual and a great company. So how come that you came with these concepts 12 years ago? Of course, not all of them. Of course, yeah.
So, well, to be honest, when we started, we didn't know much or almost anything about great organizational cultures and how to build them. So it was more that we did everything intuitively. So we didn't like some things at our previous company, and we believe that it can be better, that people can feel better at work, they can be respected more, given more trust, and that people in general can feel better at work. And so we wanted to build a company where the two of us will feel great at work, and then to feel great at work, you also need to be surrounded with people who feel good at work. And yeah, it came intuitively from our personal feeling of how it should be. We were making mistakes, we were experimenting, and also started learning a lot, reading and going for leadership trainings and all different kind of things to improve practices that we're using. And also what we did when there were like 10 of us in the office or 30 was not the same as what we needed when there was 50 or 100 of us, or now 200. So we just have to, we as the founders of the company have to work on our personal and professional development day after day to be able to grow with the company, to follow the growth of the company, and not limit its growth or destroy the culture or anything like that.
Yeah, not to hinder it. That's the element that really speaks a lot to me. In my own teams, we're trying to implement something that you have there, and now I would I always have some kind in my head, either mentor or a previous, let's say, good colleague or a good boss, or I don't know, someone who was this kind of an inspiration that things can be done differently, right? And I think that take into account context and the working culture around and what has been maybe even culturally acceptable, creating something that is, I wouldn't say that different, but I would say even right. So from my deep convictions, actually, what you're doing is the right thing to do in the sense of for people's right.
Yeah, we wanted the things to be fair, and we wanted to have our colleagues feel that what we are doing is fair, and that we were making decisions that we wanted people to make on us if we are working for them, and then it's easy and logical and just normal. So,
Exactly, just normal. That's I think that the hardest things maybe sound the most simple, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
in a way, Sasha, guys, since I know that Sasha is very very busy and he's working a lot, we would let's say end up at in 11 minutes. So please, if you have additional questions, do not miss to ask. And Sasha, one question. I see we have another one, so we'll go there. Also, one question: when you speak about work-life balance, that's a topic, of course, mentioned all over the place. When that term comes, what that means to you, and what that means to you when you think about your colleagues. So how do you determine for yourself what a work-life balance is, and how you determine for your colleagues what a work-life balance is?
Okay, I hope I will not disappoint you here, because I don't trust in that. I don't like the term. So I like more something called work-life harmony. Because if you think about it like work-life balance, it means that when you are at work, it's not life, and it sounds too sad to me. So you're like coming to work at 9 a.m. and your life stops there, and then at 5 p.m. it can continue again. It
It's
sounds
life again.
too sad. And I believe that you can make things in such a way and build such cultures that people feel that 9 to 5 is also part of their life, that they enjoy it, that they find meaning in that they enjoy being surrounded with their colleagues, etc. And then it's much easier. Everything around it, outside of 9 to 5, is much nicer and better in that way.
You're absolutely not disappointing me. Actually, that's something that I expected more, Sasha. Tell you to be honest. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I stopped you. It seems to me.
No, it's fine.
So I often say also we have to have life in work too, right? And also what I often say also, I don't have a right to take your private. I don't have a right to take your private life also due to atmosphere that we are creating in a work, right?
Yeah, of course.
We have two questions. One is from Kumar. If you have to put all these years of your experience into words to the young millennials, what do you suggest?
Well, I'm not sure if this was about young entrepreneurs or young millennials in general. If it's about entrepreneurship, then I would say that I would advise them to follow my path and invest a lot into their knowledge, experience, their both personal and professional development. Freelance work helped me a lot to get skills that I couldn't easily get elsewhere, because as a freelancer you have to find a client, negotiate a deal, deliver invoice and get paid for the work you did, etc. So yeah, try with that, and then also look at opportunities around you all the time. And finally, don't wait for the perfect opportunity, because usually there's no such thing. Just when you feel that you're kind of ready and something might be an opportunity, then give your best at that. And if you fail, don't give up. Just give it another try.
You summed it up very well. So a question from Anna: how do you keep that closeness, culture, and team spirit on high level, even in times like this, when most of the people work from home?
And that's very challenging. That's extremely challenging, especially for an organization like ours, where people are used to be all together, have gatherings all the time. We literally see each other because we have glass walls, and it's much more difficult when we are all, or at least majority of our colleagues, are at home. So we try to think of many different creative ways to stay in touch with our colleagues. We use a product that we built a couple of years ago called Heart Count, that allows us to see on a weekly basis how our colleagues feel at work, actually working from home. And then if someone doesn't feel well or didn't feel well, then we will speak with them and try to figure out why and how we can help them. We organize all different kind of online events during the toughest period. So April and May was the toughest for us. We had regular all hands Zoom calls, and we were completely transparent with our colleagues on what's happening, even about the lost revenues and clients, etc. We try to make small surprises to our colleagues even when they're working from home. So, for example, a couple of weeks ago, it was our birthday, our company's birthday, and we usually would throw a party, but we didn't do that because it was too risky, and we didn't want to risk the health of our colleagues. So we made surprise boxes, send them out to our colleagues. So that was quite an interesting and challenging task.
Logistics.
Yeah. And the boxes said that you should not open them until Friday, I think 5 p.m. or something like that. And then on Friday we had a Zoom call, and our colleagues opened that one, and there were bottles of some juices and beer and wine and so on, some cocktails. And then we just opened that and had our celebration, even if we are distributed across the country. So, I mean, there are people who I mentioned, team leaders and development leads, and our people operations team, and many other people who care about their colleagues, who are in constant contact with each other and trying to support them. But it's still not the same as when we are in the office.
Absolutely, and it seems to me that for some time we will not be going full back where we have been, and maybe not even going back. Not because now I guess it seems that we've proven we can work from home, and now it will be just a matter of, I guess, goodwill. Should we go back to the office? That is interesting times. I'm not sure that we have been tested like this sometime.
Yeah.
Good. Guys, I see that you are typing, so let's see if we have another question. If not, we have just 3 more minutes. What a lovely gesture, we have as a comment. Saša, thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciate it. You're amazing person, first of all, and then whatever you have done until now in your professional and private life is really deserves respect. And thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and experience with our viewers.
Yeah, thank you, Marco, for inviting me to be able to share this with your audience.
Thank you. See you, guys. Bye bye, and see you next time.